Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, Charles Morse. You may have heard about the criminal activity with Andrew Cuomo. That most of you have probably watched Attorney General Letitia James finding evidence on the criminal activity with Andrew Cuomo. And today I want to be discussing this because this is a pretty big issue. Now, I know Andrew Cuomo, ever since the COVID-19 pandemic started back in mid-March in New York, he kept the cases low, and it was safe for people in New York to still continue to do, like, their daily needs, like, go shopping and, do all that stuff while the mask mandates were in place and that stuff. He was, known as a COVID-19 hero, and it's just quite sickening to, just hear about his, criminal activities with, women and the sexual assault evidence and all that stuff that Andrew Coumo did to women and that stuff. I mean, that's pretty sad. It's sad. Now, the numbers are 7, but according to a local newspaper that I have, it's actually 11. Now, you compare to 11 to 60 in Bill Cosby's case. I say Bill Cosby did a lot worse than Andrew Cuomo. And Bill Cosby is actually a loose sex predator. So, I mean, both men are dangerous, but I think Bill Cosby is even more of a threat. Now, I'm not saying who's a threat and who's a bigger one. I'm just saying Bill Cosby did a lot worse than Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo has announced a few weeks ago that he is resigning, which is a good thing because you don't want a criminal being behind the desk and serving alongside the side of law enforcement in your current state, such as New York or any other of the 49 states here in the United States. That can be, it can be pretty disturbing for the people who actually live in New York, or if you live in some other state and your governor has, committed a criminal act, or, you just, or you just have somebody on not just the governor's side of law enforcement in your state, but you could have somebody else that serves on the side of law enforcement, like a attorney general or in Washington and in a lot of cases, when you're president of, like, the White House is in Washington, so if there was like a criminal activity going on over there and you have the president, like, say for example, former 45 is a criminal because he committed, tax fraud and, that stuff, and his team has well, what's currently going on with former 45 is he's trying desperately so hard to hide his tax fraud records and bank records and all that other stuff. And just to go over something similar to what Andrew Cuomo did, he gave excuses to I didn't know at the time, or I didn't really consider this, or stuff like that. It's stupid. Well, it's pretty stupid. But when you have to go to jail for these crimes that you commit and that stuff, you pretty much don't have a choice. If the lieutenant governor says that we have found evidence and that stuff that you have done this or whatever and that stuff, then you obviously have to go to prison. Even if a judge tells you that you should be going to jail and stuff, you don't really have a choice. And as much as I'm talking about this, you could also go back to my other video where I said it says evidence says just about everything that you've done. So, like, if it's a crime and well, let me just say this. Everybody leaves behind a trail of evidence at the scene of a crime. So once that evidence gets found that you did this, like, if you committed any sort of crime, once found, and you get taken to court, or your attorney general investigates you and that stuff, you can highly expect that you're going to have, like, a guilty verdict, or you're going to be taken to prison for about, like, almost up to, like, 10 years or so, depending on how many years you have to serve in jail or prison based on what kind of crime you committed. And if it's multiple crimes, that's going to add up to the number of years you need to serve. And the people want justice here in the United States. And that's what's going to be coming to Andrew Cuomo and the people of New York. So, when you stop electing idiots such as, like, Matt Gaetz and Andrew Cuomo commit these kind of criminal activity or criminal acts, that people can actually feel more safe on the well, knowing that justice is going to be served. These people do not deserve to be serving on the side of law enforcement. Excuse me. If this is the kind of criminal acts that people on the side of law enforcement want to commit, once you're on the side of law enforcement, you have a responsibility here. Okay? You have to give pretty much when you are serving on the side of law enforcement, the people expect you to be, well, not a criminal, and don't do anything that would, the public is watching you. If you're going on the side of law enforcement, and you're serving as governor, lieutenant, or like governor, attorney general, or on some other side of law enforcement and that stuff, the world is watching what you do. You commit any kind of criminal activity and that stuff, you can expect yourself to be either impeached or either fired from your job if you're like a lawyer on the side of law enforcement, or something else. Something else that would get you, fired from your job, whatever. I know impeachment and firing is quite similar, but, when that stuff happens, you're likely to, well, you might not have a chance of getting back to being governor or, applying for a job that, like government facilities. If you committed a crime and you were, let's say, part of, and you were working at a government place like, federal parks or museums and that stuff, and you commit crimes, the thing there is you may not be able to go back there and apply for a job over there again, because they asked you on your applications, have you ever committed a felony? And if you said yes to it and that stuff, they may not even want to hire you again. But there are some fast food places that, even though when you committed felonies, they want to know about it and that stuff, you'll still get hired, but there's just going to be like a watchful eye kept on you. And that's what I have to say for this video today. Even though, regardless of him not getting impeachment, or getting impeached after he resigned, because a lot of Republicans, Democrats said that impeachment would be like a waste of government power and a waste of time. He may not get his chance to run for governor again because he committed a felony. And sometimes that's just how justice works. You get taken to jail and you may not be able to apply for a job anymore. It all depends on how much of a government job it is, whether it's like museums or state parks, or even federal parks, like Yellowstone. You might not be able to get back into a job, even if you're somebody that committed like multiple felonies and that stuff. Andrew Cuomo is going to be replaced by Kathy, who's the lieutenant governor of New York, and we'll have to see what time tells us after months of Kathy being the new governor of New York. I'm going to end the video with, this is Charles Morris. Have a good day. I'll see you all in the next video.